Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Victor Obasuyi, and today I'm going to be talking about the dangers of raising our kids with entitlement mentality. As a black parent, especially in diaspora, this is a major concern for me because I see a lot of parents make this same mistake again and again. For most of us, I think it's the guilt of not having when we were young, or our parents not being able to provide most of these things for us, or the luxury for us when we needed it at the time. We now go above and beyond to make sure that our kids don't go through the same problems. But the drawback to this is sometimes we go too far. Instead of empowering our kids, we go over and beyond and start creating an entitlement mentality in the kids. The point here is in the quest to ensure that our kids don't go through what we suffered, we also have to remember that creating an entitlement mentality in them does not do them any good. Rather, it's going to create a lot of harm in the future. Let's look at it this way. A child comes into the clinic. The doctor says, okay, the child needs a pair of glasses. Okay? The dad says, this is what we can afford. The child says, no, I want a Gucci frame with all gold. Then the dad eventually, or the mom eventually, yields in to that child's demand. Probably the dad or mom had a budget of maybe say $300 for the glasses, which will probably fetch you a decent pair of glasses. Now the Gucci one the child wants probably going to take them into $600. That is an unnecessary expense that the parents don't have to incur. First and foremost, the Gucci frame and the regular frame for that child is not going to change the child's vision. The child will see the same thing. The lens is what matters. The kids start this from, oh, I want McDonald's and I want it now. They start to cry. The parents eventually give in. The next thing, I want Nike shoes. I don't want regular running shoes. I want Nike shoes. Or I want Jordan. The next thing is I want Nike Air. So the child eventually becomes used to I want. Wants are different from needs. If as parents we don't put our feet down to let these kids know that it's not everything that you want today that you must get now and right now. Suppose tomorrow you as a parent, you can no longer afford that lifestyle. What do you think is going to happen? You've already created an entitlement mentality in that child. So the child believes that whatever he or she wants, he or she should get now and now. This is what leads to robbery and other vices. Eventually, those kids end up in jail. The kids are not really bad, but it's just that the brain has been wired in a certain way where they can't say no. The child sees something on the street, really likes it, probably he or she cannot afford it, and cannot tell himself or herself no. The next option is, how do I get this? They plan to steal it. Maybe I can take it and nobody will catch me. You might be lucky the first time, Probably the second time the child won't be that lucky. The next thing, the child ends up in jail. Once you have a criminal record, your chances of becoming somebody in life is slimmer. So as parents, I think it is very important that we learn to tell our kids no sometimes. And don't feel guilty if you have to do it. No means no. If the child really wants it and it becomes something that he or she must have, then the child must work for it. The child has to work for it. At home, I think the kids should be given chores. There are chores that are mandatory that will teach them responsibility. Those ones, you don't have to give them anything for it. It is their own part of keeping the house in order. It teaches them responsibility. Then there are times when you say, okay, you know what, if the Nike one is what you want, then you have to do X, Y, Z in addition to whatever you were doing before at home. Or your grades, you have to trade in something for what you want. If you want the extra Nike shoes, then your grades must improve by a certain amount. If you're able to do it, then we'll go get you the shoes. That also teaches the child how to work hard for what you want. And also that it is not necessarily now. You can put it on hold. You work for it, you get it later. You get the reward later. You don't need to get the reward before you put in the effort. So I think it's very important that we sit down with our kids and teach them these things. Wants are different from needs. Wants are different from needs. A Nike running shoes and the no-name running shoes will do the same work. The quality might be different, true. But if this is what you can afford at this point in time, then that's what you can afford. The child should use it. Let's not forget that the bank daddy or bank mommy may not always be there. The day the bank daddy or bank mommy is not there, where is the child going to get that funds from? Where is the child going to get the money from? And the sad part is most of kids that are raised this way, all they know is about give me, give me, give me, me. They never think of how to give to the next person. I don't think it's the best way to raise a child. When they're wired that way from when they are young, their brain gets wired that way from when they're young, it is very difficult to change it later. The child becomes a problem to society later on. He or she gets married, expects the husband or the wife to continue from where the parents stopped. Because that's the way they were raised. Life is not a bed of roses. We should teach our kids that life is not a bed of roses. You can't always get what you want. It's impossible. No matter how wealthy you are, how rich you are, you're not always going to be able to get what you want. Sometimes you have to sacrifice some things. So our kids must learn that every day, it is not everything you want that you must get. We must learn to sometimes do with what we have. And whatever we can't afford, we don't feel guilty about it. Life is about hope. We see situations these days where there's suicide everywhere. What's happening? A lot of people don't even now believe that tomorrow could be better than today, or there's light at the end of the tunnel. So whatever they want today, they don't get it today, then they consider their life the worst. It's time to end it. There's always a chapter 2 in life. You may be reading chapter 1. Chapter 1 may not be the good one. Maybe your chapter 2 is probably better than chapter 1. Or chapter 3 is even better than chapter 2 and chapter 1. But if you believe chapter 1 is not good, therefore I'm going to end my life, then automatically how do you know that chapter 2 or chapter 3 would have been better? We only have one life to live. If you end it in chapter 1, you cannot come back tomorrow to say, okay, you know what, I made a mistake, let me go and try chapter 2 and chapter 3. We were raised in a communal society. I was raised in Nigeria. My parents did not always have. But where we started from must not always be a determining factor on how we end. You may not have today. Who says you're not going to have tomorrow? So we should also teach our kids the same thing. You may have to do without this today, but if you work hard enough tomorrow, you might get it. You might be able to afford it. But don't turn yourself into the bank that they will be extracting from all the time. Teach them to work hard for what they want. And be patient. It might not come today, it will come tomorrow. Patience is the key word. I just thought I'll share this with you guys because I see a lot of black kids in jail. It's not as if they're all really bad, but most times lack of patience. Impatience is the main problem. I want a pair of shoes. Those shoes look nice. True. How do I get them? Get a job. How much is the shoes? How long will it take me to work for it? Go and work for it if that's what you really want. But entitlement mentality does not help our kids. Instead, we're messing up their psyche and creating problems for them in the future. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I just thought I'd share this with you guys. I'd love to hear from you. If you have any comments on this topic, please feel free to share it with us. We appreciate you guys. Thank you.